Hi guys, welcome to QA Prayogshala. So guys, in today's session, we are going to discuss or we are going to learn about JDK. Okay. So if we talk about Java language, right? So there are mainly three main building blocks of a Java language. Okay. The very first one being JDK, the second one being JRE, and the final one being JVM. Okay. So today we are going to discuss about JDK. Okay, what do we mean by it and why we need to use it. Okay. Then in the subsequent sessions we'll discuss about JRE and JVM. Okay. So let's get started. So JDK, if you see, right, the full form of JDK is nothing but Java Development Kit. Okay. So that is the full form of JDK. Now, if we focus on the last two parts, it is development kit, right? Now, what do we mean by a development kit? Okay, so development kit is nothing but everything, right, that you need in order to develop a program that is known as a development kit. In our case, we are developing a Java program, and hence it is known as a Java development kit. Okay. So let me give you one simple example. Let's go for an example. Okay, you want to, let's say you are preparing a tea for yourself. Okay. So in order to prepare a tea, what all ingredients you need? Okay, you will need a sugar. Okay, and you will need some root pond or something, right? Kind of tea leaves, right? And finally, you will need a gas, okay, and you will need a matchstick also. So all these components, okay, these are the kit, right? This is the kit in order to prepare a tea. So in the similar fashion, okay, in the similar fashion, in order to develop a Java program, you need certain components, okay, and these components they are nothing but that is known as a Java development kit. Okay. So let me give you one very simple example. Okay, let me show you first of all the flow of a Java program. Okay, so in that case we will understand uh, what are the main components of a JDK. So if you see here, right, the very first thing is the source code. Okay. So whenever any code, first of all, the Java code that you are going to write, let's say I want to print hello world or something, right? So that particular Java code, native code, .java code, it is known as a source code. So very first component is the Java compiler. So the function of a Java compiler is to make sure there are no uh, errors, right, in terms of syntax or something which is present in the Java code. So first of all, that errors it will be pointed out by Java compiler. Second function of a Java compiler is to convert the source code, that is .java code, into the .class file. Okay, so that is the second function of a Java compiler. Now the next component is the class loader. So as the name suggests, what it does is this converted .class file, it will be loaded by a class loader. Okay. Now the next component is the bytecode verifier. Now what bytecode verifier will do is it will basically compare the bytecode between the of the source file and the output file. Source file being the file or the source machine, okay, from which we have developed this Java code. Okay, so it will compare that bytecode between the source file and the final output class file. Okay, and it will check whether it is matching or not. Okay. This is for security purpose, okay, to make sure that this particular Java code is from the authentic source. Okay, it should match. Okay, then only it will allow this particular bytecode to move further. Okay. Now the next component is the JIT compile. Okay. Now as we all know, right, every machine understands only machine language. Okay, they won't understand the native language. So basically, we'll need one interpreter or the JIT compiler. Okay, that will convert this particular native code or the byte code into the machine code. Now the full form of JIT is just in time compiler. Okay. Sometimes it is also referred as a Java interpreter. So it will basically convert this particular byte code into the machine code. Okay. So that is the function of JIT compiler. Now finally, this particular machine code, okay, it will be executed by the Java execution engine. Okay. So that is the purpose of Java execution engine, that it will particularly execute this particular machine code into it. Okay. So these are the basic components of a JDK. Okay. These are components that we need in order to develop and run a Java program is known as a JDK. Okay. Now let me show you something. Okay. Let us see practically. Okay. How these all components will work. Okay. So let me do one thing. Okay, let me open the Eclipse and then we'll see. Okay, that how this whole components will be. Okay. Meanwhile, this by the time Eclipse opens, let us go to Google, okay, and let me simply search JDK. Okay. Now, if you simply search JDK, okay, and basically, if you go to Wikipedia, right, this Wikipedia page, if you go there, then you will find certain components of JDK. Okay. So these are the some components that you will find of JDK. There are a lot of components, like you will see applet viewer. Okay. One of the component is this. If you see, this is the loader for Java applications. Then there is a compiler, JavaScript compiler is there. Then there is one more component, that is a Java doc. Right? If you see here, it is nothing but it is a document generator. Okay, it will create the documentation. Okay, that what each class will do, what is its function, and all that thing. Then there is also one debugger to debug the code, and there are a lot more components that are present. So this all components, it is the part of JDK. Now Eclipse is open. Okay, I have created, if you see, right, I have created one project, one Java project here. Okay, and in this default package, I have this program, that is hello world.java. Okay. Now, if we talk about the very first component, right, that is this source code, then source code is nothing but everything that you write, okay, under this hello world.java, it is known as a source code. Each and every piece of code that you write here, that is nothing but that is the source code. Now let's say, now there is one rule as per the Java language. After every statement, you need to put semicolon, okay, at the end. Now, if I remove this semicolon, if I save this, and if I try to run this Java program, let us try to run this. Okay, then in that case, okay, if you see this, okay, let me open the console. Then compiler will throw one error. That there is one syntax error. We need to insert semicolon to complete the blocks. statements, and it will also show where this particular error is there. Okay, so this is the function of a compiler, very first function of a compiler. Okay, and okay, so that is the function of a compiler. Okay, now if you see, it won't throw that error. Okay, now if you run this, okay, then it will print hello world, okay, on the console. If you see here, it has printed hello world here. Now the second function was, it will convert this .java file or the source code file into the .class file. Okay, so this is the .class file basically. Let me do one thing. Okay. If we go to the exit location where this program lies, then we'll see that .class file also. Right. If we go here, this is the exit location. And if I go into the src folder, and if you see here, we have this .class file. So that is converted by the compiler. So this is the source code file, and this is the .class file. Okay. Now the next function, okay, is this class loader will load this .class file, okay, into it. Then bytecode will be verified. Okay, it will be converted into the machine code, and finally execution engine will run this code and will see the output. Okay, so that is the function of the JDK. Okay, now suppose if you want to explore further, right, this JDK thing, then you can refer the Wikipedia page basically. Okay, and also there is a definition that I have prepared. Okay, so let us go through it. Okay, now you will understand what this whole thing means. So if you see, right, JDK stands for Java Development Kit. Okay, so in simple words, JDK, it will be used if you want to develop the Java-based software application. So suppose you want to develop some software application that is based on the Java language, then each and every component that is needed in order to build the application, okay, that is known as the Java Development Kit. Now JDK, what it includes, okay, so it normally includes the development tools. It will include, okay, development tools meaning you will need a compiler, okay, you will need an interpreter, and all the things that is known as a development tool. Okay. That debugger, that is also a development tool. Finally, you need a runtime environment, right, in order to run your program. And it contains some demo programs and source code also. So that is what JDK contains. Okay. Now, JDK is basically union of many more software components, like so and that particular diagram, like compiler, class loader, bytecode verifier, and so on. Okay. JDK, it can also be termed as JRE plus development tools. Now, there is one diagram if you see, right? So JDK, if you see the whole, this outer rectangle, that is a JDK. So it includes JVM, where our program will run, that is the virtual machine, that we'll see in the subsequent sessions. And finally, it will contain JRE also, that is the runtime environment. Right. Now, what next? Okay, so you can also explore. Okay, there are some sites. Okay, if you go here, that is a jigs for jigs, and here from here also you can explore further. Okay, what do you mean by JDK and all that thing? So here also, if you see, okay, that this is the diagram of the JDK. So here, if you see, right, So this is the JDK, the same diagram that we saw. First, it will contain JVM plus library classes. That is the JR, virtual machine, which our program runs. Okay. And finally, this is the JDK. That each. So one thing you need to remember, guys, is JDK is nothing but the software components that you need in order to develop your Java program is known as a JDK. Okay. So okay, let me know if you have any questions. In the next sessions, okay, we'll see what do we mean by JRE, and finally we'll also see what do we mean by JVM, what is its role. And, okay. So that's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching.